Another Bright Spark podcast.
Another bright
Another bright
spark.
spark.
Another bright spark.
Another bright spark.
Another bright spark.
Another bright spark. Another bright spark podcast.
Hi, I'm Neil, and welcome to another episode of the Another Bright Spark podcast. I'm here with contemporary artist Ian Cook. Ian, I'll probably let you introduce yourself because you're not an artist that works with paint brushes. You work with paint, not brushes. You combine your passions. Tell us what that is.
So my name is Ian Cook from Pop Bag Colour. I'm an artist, but kind of your normal artist. So one of the processes that I do is I paint solely with radio control cars, tyres and wheels. So that's one of the processes that I do. And then I also create continuous car drawings, which is kind of born out of lockdown and the latter half, more recent half of my career, where I draw as well. So I paint and I draw, generally all automotive.
But I mean, you've sold yourself short a little bit. I mean, you say you paint and you draw. You've created some wonderful and huge, extravagant. We were talking before about your work with BMW. You're a Guinness World Record holder, responsible for Lewis Hamilton's Brazilian GP win.
Well, I'd like to say I was, but no. There was a believe me, there was a very nervous PR company behind that whole project.
So give us a story. It was a 2000.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
pretty big deal.
I mean, as career projects starting, for me, So 2006-07, I started the process of working out how to paint with a radio control car. How do you do that? Do you put the paint onto the wheels? Do you pour the paint on? Do you how do you apply, mix, move the paint? I worked out that you put the paint on the canvas, then the car wheels spread the paint around the canvas, creating the artwork. So that's how it started. And then I was at Goodwood in 2008, which I had no idea how big the event was. I at that point I was still kind of contacting the events agencies and events companies and going, "Hi, I'm Ian," and I had that 30-second elevator pitch of like, "This is what I do." So I was at Goodwood. And I was painting a portrait of Lewis, a small portrait of Lewis Hamilton there.
Not a full-story one, just
little. When I say small one, it was still 2.5 meters by 1.5 meters.
Sure.
It was still.
You can't go too small with an RC car.
Yeah, it wasn't like small in my head compared to the big one. It was small. So I did Lewis Hamilton portrait, Mike Hawthorne car. It was Lewis on the start line and something else. It was Lord March in a Jaguar D-Type. So I painted these artworks, and that year they also had the Dragster Fire Up, which meant at that point also 2008 Goodwood wasn't the massive event it is now. It's not the global event. It was a massive event. It's now a global event.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean it's featured on Gran Turismo and various.
Oh yeah, it's just huge thing now. It is the motoring event that all the brands want to be at and want to be part of and whatever. So I painted these artworks, and so I think Lewis painted on the Saturday, Sunday. So that year, Dragsters, they were firing up. That meant that people poured over to one side of the event that they wouldn't necessarily do normally, and when they walked back from the Dragsters, they walked into my marquee. So I had a lot of people,
Captive audience.
Yeah, an audience of people twice a day who just walk into my market because I was like the kind of closest thing nearest them.
You were the museum gift shop, basically. There's some ways, so
yeah, the accidental purchase.
Yeah.
And it turns out that a person who people who came in were MC Saatchi, the advertising agency. Obviously, we're very well known. The Saatchi name I know from being an artist and growing up with the the kind of the Y-Bass era and Charles Saatchi and whatever. But so MC Saatchi, so Morris and Charles Saatchi, MC Saatchi, which is advertising agency. At this point, I had no idea what a corporate or a corporate gig would be. So they messaged me going, right, how big can you paint?
How big can you go?
How big can you go? These are the 2.5 meters is nice, but how big can you go? And I was just like, well, how big do you want me to to paint it. Like, you tell me.
By naivety of youth.
Oh, it was honestly now I'd be like, well,
Yeah. I'll work out my percentage.
Exactly.
How much acrylic paint do I need to acquire?
So I just we ended up going down to London, down to their offices in it was literally just beyond Oxford Circus. There's a little park, and there's this very nice office there. Hasn't got a name of it, but quite clearly is a nice office.
Yes.
And we had a chat, blah blah blah. Turns out they wanted me to paint a giant portrait of him to celebrate him becoming a global ambassador for Reebok as a off-track athlete.
Right.
So hence why he wasn't in his racing attire, and it wasn't associated to what was then McLaren. Mm-hmm. So it was more like
this is the personality rather than the brand of sure.
Yeah. So. And classically, I went down. You had the chat, and then when we came to how big can it get, 12 has always for some reason been a lucky number. So I just went, we'll paste out in the offices, and it was like 12 meters by 8 meters, and I was like, seems all right. Yeah, seems fine. Seems fine. And then when we went back home, and Dad went, how big did you say you're gonna get? And I went 12 by 8. Yeah. And he was like, that's 36 feet. That's like 3 double-decker buses. Yeah. You thought about that, Ian? It was like, yeah, it'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Do you know how many tubs of paint you went through?
It was a lot. And the thing is, at that time, I couldn't tell people what I was doing, when I was doing it, who I was doing it for. It was all kept very much like. So I was trying to get hold of people who might have done corporate work like it, but obviously I'm painting with a radio control car.
It's new ground. Yeah.
So I was like, all of this information I'm getting, I'm like, it's not really going to help because I'm doing something which is so not in the same. Yeah, it's okay. I'm using paint on a canvas. That's about it. Yeah. And then they came back to me and said, right, we've got a week. So in a week in the central London shop unit, and they decked it out like a studio. Kind of similar, kind of like lights and kind of
So it looked the part.
It looked cool. Cool. Yeah. And I just kind of got on with it.
Yeah. How long did it take?
A week. I had a week for a full week, but properly.
It's 36 foot. It's a big.
Yeah, and it was like a proper long week. It was like long hours. I'd also managed to put a craft knife in my leg the week before, as well. So that was.
That's going to hinder progress.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it was somewhat of a. That was when the project manager rang me, and she was like, "You're right, Ian?" I went, "Yeah. I'm in the A&E right now. What have you done?" Put a rusted craft knife in my leg.
Is this going to affect the progress of this big tomato cream that we've just given you?
Yeah, I was like, "Is it?" She was exactly like. She was like, "And you're fine, aren't you?" I was like, "Yeah, I think so. We'll crack on." So I think sometimes you've got to have an element of that still. Like
you've got to be a bit naive. You've got to be young. You've got to be hungry
for
it.
I'm so glad I did it when I was 23. Yeah. I think now through just experience and I'd be a bit more grumpy.
Yeah, I would imagine, especially the craft mate.
Yeah, I'd be a bit like, oh no. But no, not that I am grumpy, because I'm very fortunate to be in the position of what I do.
Yeah. Well, also your artwork is I've always thought it was like really positive. I mean, you're a very bright personality yourself, but I mean, if you look.
Well, no, I'm dull. I'm very dull. I blend in. Nobody ever knows I've arrived, and I fly under the radar. Yes, I fly under the radar. Yeah.
But it's. I mean, your artwork's kinetic. I think by the nature that you do with the ties and stuff, it's very sort of like, I want to say splashed on, but it's very alive. It's very colourful,
splashy. And it's like outside the lines.
Yeah. But
yeah.
So you were using remote control cars. You use tyres as well. Where did the initial inspiration from using the RC remote control car?
I was given a radio control car as a Christmas present.
Okay.
And I was told, don't take it down to the studio and don't get paint on it. So
you did exactly the opposite.
I listened to a bit of that conversation. But I was always into cars anyway. Cars and art.
The cars come back from a childhood thing?
Yeah, I wanted to be a car designer when I was a kid. And then I did a week's work experience with my uncle, who was a car designer. And found it a bit boring.
Right. You don't have to apologise to me. I'm not a car designer.
No, but it's just like you kind of. It's I don't know. It was a little bit like Don't Meet Your Heroes,
Right.
I kind of met my hero of I want to be like this hero, and you go in, you draw something big, and it becomes a car, and you go, no.
Okay,
no.
so what put you off then? Because obviously you're very creative, and also that's a process.
I sat down with a guy who on a CAD program, and he was 3D modeling a CAD program, and there was an exploded Mini on the wall, so every part of the Mini was on that wall,
right?
Like so, a massive, like a like a model kit, like
before it's put together.
Before, it was like that
door,
handle, and then this
sure.
guy was like, I designed the engine bracket for that Mini,
right?
And I went, oh, they said they've got rid of it. It wasn't part of the car. I know it's part of the car. I'm not very happy about that. And I was like, you can't see it, can you? You can only see it because it's on the wall over there. It's kind of teasing you, going, I'm in the car. No, it wasn't you. It was just like, all right. So you don't design the whole car.
Right.
You design part. You're a part of a team who design bits of the car, and then that car comes together, and it's the whole product. Yeah. But actually, you might just be tweaking just the headlight or the fuel filler cap.
You wanted the whole shoot.
Yeah, I was like, cars like, you're the whole thing. You're not the whole thing.
No.
There we are. Yeah, but there are, obviously some very well respected and very well known car designers who put their names against cars. Frank Stephenson, Ian Callum. Kind of legendary car designers. The likes of, the Jag F types and the other iconic ones. But so I was like after that week I was like, I don't want to just do the bit.
Yeah. You want more creativity, more death by committee.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. It's probably a good thing that I was 15 and I could go, okay, well, I'll try. I'll do, but I was really good at school. I was just really good at drawing. Really, really good. Drawing was my thing.
Yeah.
And
did you take that through to A levels and university?
Yes, well, I did. So I did 3 arts at school. So I did art, textiles, graphics. The only kid ever to do all 3 arts at that school and get A star in all 3 of them at the same time. And then moved on to do illustration. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to do an A level. So with some A levels, you've got to do art and then English, or art and then something else. For whatever.
You went the 3 arts.
I was like 3 arts, and then I want to just do a BTEC, which is like just art, and I did it at Just Art College. So it wasn't it wasn't an art department in a college. It was an art college, which is great because when you've got a whole lot of art students, they are like the mismatch of society, and they've put them all into the same building, and it works perfectly because they all don't match, they all don't work together. They don't work in outside, but they work in that context of a building of art students and whatever.
What's that creative minds, isn't it? You pitch them together. They don't know what they kind of stick out like a sore thumb when they're working together in a machine, but individually in a group.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted. So I went to St. Colourful College, which had a standalone art college. I did illustration, started illustration, and then the second year of my illustration, they then brought out the Apple Macs. Right. I remember, the old school Apple Macs, which had the green,
the different coloured one,
the ones on the back. So they're probably in a museum somewhere now. Because
the iMac, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's like, well, when did I graduate? 23 years ago. So this has been 26 years ago for college.
2000.
So I in that second year of illustration, they went, "Oh, we're going to be moving on to the Macs now." And I went, "I'm sorry. I paint and draw. I don't do it on computer. I don't do it on computer. I don't want to go into an art package. I physically, this is how I create."
Do you still have that mindset now?
Oh, God, yeah.
Very much hands-on rather than using technology.
Yeah.
Have you tried? Just out of interest, was it sort of like a mindset that you got, whereas...
what I find funny now, not funny, what's interesting now, is that with the growth of, there's literally an AI thing on the radio on the way here. About musicians not liking that AIs and they're allowed to, companies are now are being allowed to scrape.
They can basically get like a George Michael, put all his music into a pot, and then create a George Michael song based on this era. They can get his voice down to a T. They can reproduce.
And obviously, ChatGPT and all those kind of programs, there's image-based programs where they go, oh, create me as a Lego person, and all of a sudden you'll see all these things on social media. Somebody's made themselves and they look like a doll or whatever, and it's all quite clearly it's AI generated. Okay, some bits of that, like there's a fun element to it. As a professional artist that I'm paid to create an image. For somebody to be able to go into a program and go, create me a pop bang colour.
Well, you could collate like a series of your images that we have around here, and we'll show some I'm sure through this episode. Here's 20 Ian Cook pop bang images. Here's a picture of my favourite car, an actual photograph, and create me a pop bang style. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'd hope that. I hope, and what does happen is that people contact me and go, I want to have my own thing drawn by you, by the human that is you.
That is Ian Cook.
I mean, I can't take, it'd be silly for me to be like, oh, I'm going to take all my images off the internet and therefore you can't,
you still need to promote yourself. You still need to have an online presence. People need to find you.
And you've got to be like, this is me, and I to put watermarks and everything, or to put just it'll only affect my business. But so what I have found is that I've literally got a poster now that says the only AI you will see is artist Ian.
Okay.
So people take photographs of that because they're like, oh, that's really good, that's really clever. You're kind of leaning into it to say, this isn't AI. There is a person here. I'm it. And you'll find him in that little car drawing away, like now.
Is there any place for it for you as an artist? No, so we've talked, AI comes up a lot on this podcast, so you can imagine we talk a lot of people in tech. So we were chatting the other month to a lady called Helen Carey, who's a copywriter. Obviously, you see a lot of blog posts and stuff now created by AI, and you can always tell what it is, the way it's worded, using hyphens, etc., etc. We're getting a bit more savvy, I think, to it. But she'll use it as like a almost like a mood board. So we like, give me 10 ideas for X, Y, and Z, or and then she can go through and go, okay, that's not a bad idea. I'll add that to my existing thing and use it as like an assistant. Is there any world for that in your world, or?
Yeah, I think the thing is how the world that I started the business in is completely different to what it is now. So I've changed and lent into it, used technology when I've had to, but also fundamentally it is the process of painting with a car is like it's a very physical thing, and as long as physically I can be able to do it still, then I'll do it because I enjoy the process, and I also enjoy people looking at it and going, no, he's not. No, he's not doing that. No, I can't. And you go, and then
the showman element, isn't it?
I did. And I think it's a bit like a performer on a stage. People will always want to go to a concert and see that, even though they could just put the
CD,
the
CD showman,
Spotify, yeah.
Just cut that. We'll just say Spotify.
Rewind the tape with a little pen.
Rewind.
All the musicians I would want to listen to are in my phone, but yes, it's
you still want to go.
You still want to go see that live performance element. So, and that's what I aim to do, and that's what I enjoy doing. And like what I was saying about the so there was with education, and I get used as an artist link now at schools, which is lovely. It's very nice when parents come and go, oh, my son's just studied.
He's done an Ian Cook.
He's just studied you, and he's just done one of your artworks, and he's done it, with a.
That's got to be great.
And I'm like, that's great. I'm like, I try not to put my teacher head too much because I can get.
Don't grade them in. Don't go in and go, oh, that's a B+.
I mean, I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. But there was I was in an event recently, and this dad goes, she studied you for an artist link, and I went, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And she stood there, looked to her dad, and went, he's real. And I was like, I'm here. She's like, I can't believe he's there. I've seen him on YouTube, and he's there. And I'm like, hi.
That's got to be a bit of a rock star moment, surely.
It's lovely. Like,
Yeah.
it is nice when yeah, and even when there's new artists on the scene or there's people who've I've not had a chance to speak to, and they've gone, oh, you're always, I see you at events, but you're always really busy, so I haven't had a chance to chat. It's nice to kind of have that. There is that. I think there's always, hopefully, there will always be that people by people.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
So we talked about Rockstar. We talked about Lewis Hamilton. You're also a Guinness record holder for another record, aren't you? How many times Guinness World Record book holder?
Well, I had the one, which is with the world's largest glow in the dark artwork, which was done for Nissan.
Wow.
Back in 2015.
Tell us about that then.
So I was asked to paint a giant artwork with a real car. So
I did not. This is a story I don't know.
So it was a real car. So it wasn't RC. It was like, right, how can we upscale this in so that you paint with a real car? You also only have a week to do it in.
Did they give you the car?
There was a car that was to be used.
Okay.
Which was so basically the glow in the dark record. So if a company wants to break a Guinness World Record, it's why it's been done every day. Is that you pay Guinness £10,000,
right?
To
feature it,
to break that. And I imagine,
is that just to attempt it or to
just to attempt it?
Right.
And I imagine with inflation, it's somewhat more than that now. Okay. Yeah, because that was 10 years ago. So I imagine they'd probably for the man to come out with his little blue jacket. Measuring tape, yeah.
I wouldn't mind his day rate, 10,000 a day.
Oh yeah. I don't think they personally pocket it in like a brown envelope, but I would like that idea. Yeah. Derek, we've told you this before. You didn't give that money's not for you.
Yeah.
It's just taking a check.
Indeed. Yeah. In his lunchbox.
Oh yeah, well, those are it would have happened.
Yeah.
Not now.
Back in the day, no.
Not now. The back's transfer now.
Yeah. But yeah, so Nissan.
Anyways, yeah. So Nissan, yeah. So they there was a Nissan Leaf, so one of the very first electric cars. And they wanted to break this Guinness World Record of the glow in the dark. So that the world's largest glow in the dark artwork, very specific. These were the records are always quite specific. So when I did the London Marathon the other month. There was lots of records being broken, but they're all very specific to like
dressed as a T-Rex.
The four-wheeled object or so it was all very specific. I don't think they pay. I think that's a PR thing. I presume. Who knows? That was filmed in the Black Hanger Studios. It's where they filmed Harry Potter. So they had all the Harry Potter photos of Daniel Radcliffe, all those people.
All the ones.
And it's a giant hangar, which because it needs to be a building that didn't have any pillars, because you
need to be able to drive around and not be interrupted.
Yeah, and funny enough, a hangar where planes go don't have any pillars.
Yeah.
So
the wings, I'm told.
Yeah. So yes, we were filming in this studio, in this hangar studio, and everything was done under black light. So black light only works when it's completely pitch black. Then black light will do its thing, whether it's luminescent or fluorescent. Whether it absorbs UV light and glows, or whether it fluoresces under UV light, black light will do it. Both processes will light up. Apart from the car that absorbed the light, and obviously for continuity on a video, it had to constantly look like it was at the same depth of charge. So it couldn't look like it was losing its charge for the video.
Sure.
So the car had to keep on going back to be recharged for it to be driven back on. Yeah. And unlike a normal RC, which you can kind of,
around,
just do that and go, oh, I want to change the wheel. I want to change the wheels to that side. That's fine.
Or you could just move it slightly to the
Whereas I had managed like a typewriter, so we had to kind of paint like a typewriter, so that was always the painting wheels, and so that was a
challenge.
Yeah, it was a challenge. It was almost also a challenge because when we printed the outline in very, very, very fadey, like very faint UV paint because I couldn't draw that big because it was just huge, it was massive. I mean, literally, the car on top of it looked like a toy. And
Scaled up.
the scale, and the camera was right in the roof, so we got a lockdown of it. But yeah, it was huge, and it turns out when they printed the sample piece, which worked, the sample piece, they changed the material between the sample and the finished. So when they turned the lights off and turned the black light on, and we could see that there was an outline when the lights were on. Yeah. When the lights went off, they couldn't see. And I was like, oh, that's the first problem.
That's a challenge.
Can't see, and then you've got a team. A team going, sorry, how are we going to...
how's progress? Yeah.
How are we going to do this? And I went, we'll work on this. We'll make it work. It'll be fine. You just kind of like, it's that old kind of swan thing, isn't it? Like perfectly up here.
But the legs are going.
But you're starting to go, this is... Now,
stress induced.
What's going to... How we... So anyway, we made it. It all worked. It all worked out all right. And I still remember being so elated because they probably sent the man with the jackets. Like it was
it's all official.
You're kind of shooed out, and he measured it and make sure that it's
that's his £10,000.
That's exactly. He's getting his money's worth. And then when they said yes, you have broken it, I was like. Yeah. So
that was a good feeling, right?
That was great. Yeah. It was great, and the thing is, with this,
you get like a trophy or an award, or
I've got a print. Like I've got a printout of the. I've got a duplicate copy.
Nice.
Because Nissan paid for it.
Right.
Nissan
sure.
kind of got.
Yeah, it's only fair, isn't it?
Yeah, they got the.
Yeah.
But I got a copy of it. Yeah. So in my studio, when people walk in, they go, "Is that a Guinness World Record?" I'm like,
pretty cool.
And the only other thing they did is that it was recorded in March, 20th of March. It was recorded, but they then released it on April 1st.
Oh, so everyone just assumed it was a
joke,
right? Sure.
But because it was an Nissan Europe thing, it's like it was a European. So in Europe,
they looked at
it. It was like, well, there is no reference to April Fool's Day in the UK for the artist is from, and I'm going, I've done this, and people are like, nah.
Yeah, nice one.
Yeah, nice one. Yeah, we don't believe it.
Sure, yeah. What a slap in the face.
Hey, but the video's still there.
Fantastic.
And I've still got a certificate.
Yeah.
And I did it.
Yeah.
And I can still milk my achievement
Yeah.
from it 10 years after doing it. The fact is I haven't done another one, but that doesn't matter.
That's fine. You've got the one.
Yeah,
You've got the one. Speaking of big car brands, Volkswagen have a Golf GTI, don't they? Locked up in the...
Yeah, well, they have just... I was asked to paint one of them. Yeah, I've done it over the years. I've done... it's weird. Like, sometimes it feels like it's 5 years. Like, 3, 4. And then when you go, it's been 18 years. And you go, and there's been many highlights in that, and there's things that I've done which have been really cool. Like that Golf was done at Goodwood, and I painted on top of it. Yeah. And
it was the first one because a lot of them are stickers and wraps.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm sure my age, not stickers, but they're done on wraps.
Yeah, so that one was. So the original car was wrapped, and then I painted the wrap. But it was like, they then lacquered that car, so that wrap ain't coming off. Not in any.
And what a proud achievement though. It's stored because Volkswagen keep a copy of like certain models and then certain cars, and you've painted one and it's there for.
Yeah, and it was painted with all of the kind of the GTIs from I think it was Gen 6, I think. So all the previous generations featured on it. This is quite funny because I had one of the tech guys from Volkswagen working with me to take the car apart. As I was doing it. I mean, the paint build up on the roof alone is like thick. It's really like impasto. So this guy was like, "Oh, Ian, I've rehung the doors you did yesterday. I've rehung them this morning." And I went, "Ooh,
they're going to marry up."
Or I was like, "No, I think it was cold last night,
right? And
you've just hung the doors when it was cold, so you've got cold paint on what is a cold. Yeah, that's just going to run in it. Yeah. So like, you walk around this one side and all the paint are going. I was like, no. And he's like, I'm really sorry. Yeah. And I went, it's fine. Paint dries, didn't it? Yeah. It will dry in the sun, and we'll redo it. It's fine. But
These things, I have to think about when you've got a canvas and a brush. It's
yeah, so that was quite a last minute. It wasn't last minute. It was in terms of sometimes how much time you have to plan something. That was quite short time scale.
Yeah.
And then this year for Goodwood we're doing Tamiya, so we're doing some exclusive stuff with Tamiya, which is going to be really exciting.
Tamiya is
this is a Tamiya. This is a Tamiya. This is known as Vanessa's Lunchbox. This is a custom version, which is my own. That's the wrap on my van is the same.
Yeah.
So it's a miniature version of my van. And Tamiya are the leading, if not the best known Japanese manufacturer of RC cars. Okay. So I'm working with them this year. So we're going to do an exclusive lunchbox, which you can buy like this. Yeah. Not this one, but a version of it. Yeah. And there's some artwork, and I've done the artwork. The artwork of the box art is really cool. Yeah. So I've done some of the box art, and we're going to do some prints and some stuff. And then Mr. Tamiya is coming over.
Fantastic.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
So it was exciting. So no pressure.
No, not at all. When you get the boss working there, it's...
Yeah. So
they're not known for their attention to detail, are they? Either so.
Yeah. Or organized, or like really organized, on time.
Politeness. Dressed well. Yeah. Subtly.
I mean, I think I'm blending.
No loud noises. You'll be fine. What an ambassador.
I mean, oh yeah.
I think it's fair to say. I mean, you obviously got a lot of personality. You're an artist. You're a trailblazer who's blazed tires in paint. But you've kind of done this career on your own terms. If you were going to, I mean, you were young, 23. You just went for it. You took your chance. What advice would you give to someone either following any passion, whether it's art, science, technology? What would you say to people who are looking who've got a vision for something, who want to do it?
I really wanted it. I really wanted it, and honestly, I'm never happy with myself because I am happy. It's just that I am determined to always be like, I want something more. What's next? After the Lewis one, I could have gone, you know what? I'm never gonna top that. But I didn't. I was like, right, well, what's next? Well, I want a Blue Peter badge. Right, how do I get a Blue Peter badge? Yeah. Got the Blue Peter badge. Right, how do I get to F1? How do I travel with this? Oh, right, yeah, we'll go out to Abu Dhabi and we'll do it in this. And yeah, so every time there's a little bit of a challenge, it kind of excites me because I'm like, okay, like this isn't, I've done something.
This is the next thing.
This is the next thing. Yeah, and the thing is, right, there wasn't somebody that I could copy and paste from. There wasn't somebody that I could go, okay, how's he done?
That's why I say trailblazer.
Yeah, like it's just like I was just like, right, I'll try this and I'll do this. Yeah, okay, sometimes it will fail and sometimes I get it wrong, but you know what? You learn from those mistakes more than sometimes the successes are great. The Lewis thing, Guinness World Record, the key ones which you go. I mean, it was a heart, like when I did the F1 one out of Monza. I mean, working within F1 as a contractor doing my thing. That was hard. Like that was hard work for a few days. I was out in Monza. It rained. Paint famously doesn't like water at all. Annoying. Particularly really humid rain, humid, not great. We did our best. And I still look fondly on it as it probably wasn't the best,
but you took something away.
But I took something away from it. Yeah. And I've done. I've been out to America a couple of times. The third time didn't work out quite so well. Turns out if you're flying to Detroit and with all your equipment, and somebody goes, "Can I look at your visa?" and you go, "Here it is," and they're like, "Oh, you haven't got the correct visa." They'll put you back on the. They'll put you on the plane,
with your tools and your.
Oh yeah, well that's what will be taken off you anyway, along with your passport,
right?
And you're detained for 3 hours.
Well, okay.
And the security man definitely doesn't like you
and doesn't have a sense of humour.
Doesn't have and the security man goes, "What, are you the only person in the world that can paint with radio control cars?" I went, "Yeah, no, I am actually. What? No American can do this?" I'm like. Nope,
not as far as I'm aware.
No, I'm pretty. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting flight.
Yeah.
Spending kind of 30 plus hours in transit.
Well, you're never going to fill out the wrong visa ever again, surely. That's the
That's
the thing,
well,
right?
yeah, and then there was like a big red stamp in the passport.
Yeah.
But
Denied.
yeah, I mean the thing is, if everything goes well, you don't have stories. So when I'm just doing school talks or whatever, or corporate team builds, and they go, "Oh, has it ever gone wrong?" I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah.
Here's a good example of
Yeah.
when it's when it has gone wrong. But
I always tell my friends whenever we go on holiday, it's like, "Do you have a great time?" I was like, "Yes, it was amazing." But here's the interesting bits, and it's always the bits that go wrong because people want to know.
Yeah, like with the F1 stuff, it was like, who would have known it would have rained for so long, like humid rain in the summer in Italy? Yeah. Like it shouldn't have been a thing.
No.
But when you arrive and you go, this is. But then I'm painting it, and the marshal, like amazing, like the passion in Monza is just incredible. Like. If you ever get a chance to go do F1 Italy, just to experience the force that are the Ferrari fans.
Yeah.
So I'm painting it, and this guy goes, "Italy is Ferrari. Ferrari is Italy. Italy loves art." And I'm like, under so much pressure.
Yeah.
And I'm like, mate, don't say anything nice.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to cry. You don't understand. You don't understand how much pressure I'm... And you saying anything nice is going to absolutely trigger me. So just thank you.
Yeah. But now leave me alone.
I'm
far too English and reserved to take this question.
And I was just the whole thing of me, I was painting on my knees. I just felt absolutely destroyed. Like, I'm like, oh, this has just gone so wrong. But then there's this lovely Italian man just telling me how much he loves the art.
Oh.
So it's So that was. But like I said, I kind of forget because there has been like loads of I did Goodwood 2019 in Michelin. That was an amazing event. It was just prior to COVID, it was like the busiest Goodwood. I had a prime spot. I was in with Michelin, and it was just everything was just like, I was like, this is. And then in 2023, I went back. I painted again at Goodwood, and that was with Disney Pixar. So I
just casually dropped in with Disney Pixar.
Yeah, well, it was weird. So basically, during COVID, I did a the line drawing started. So the continuous line. Yeah. So
flip some stuff on.
So basically,
we can add out.
Yeah. So we've got an example here. So this is how they had it. So that's how they finish. That's how they start. So that's kind of they're starting a single line without taking a pen off the paper.
Yeah.
So start, finish. That's obviously a bite. Yeah. And that's what I started on. Literally on the Friday of when Boris went, no, everybody stay at home, and and I was like, so I went and stripped my studio. Me and my wife drove down to Fargo, where my studio is. We filled both cars full of materials, whatever it was, or whatever we need. Well, I'll take it, and then that was it. Right, I'll take it back home and work out how to do my job from home. Yep. Whatever that could be, I'll do it. So that was a Tuesday. On a Friday, So Land Rover had just launched a new Defender, and I drew the new Defender because it's very simple, like kind of it's a box. Yeah.
Well designed box.
Yeah, box. Yeah. So I started that, and then within like 5 drawings, 6 maybe, they became commissions. They became to order.
Yeah.
And I started to share it online. So I was doing it as Facebook Lives, as Instagram Lives. People could watch it because they were also
had nothing else to do.
They were also at home going, "What is going on?" And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but we'll have a go. And then me and my wife would when she finished work, we'd both be drinking gin whilst I was drawing, and just be getting feedback from it and getting people's interactions. And that went really well. So we've got about 200 drawings within, I don't know, 3 weeks.
Wow.
4 weeks. Like,
that's a big time.
Like I was drawing all the time.
Because
I was just like, next. Because they're all done in about an hour and a half. Yeah. So I can do.
I suppose it's like it's finding a new passion, isn't it? It's if you find a new thing that you want to get involved in, so when you first started drawing, you just draw. Yeah.
Yeah. so by then we got to drawing 210, I think it was, and then the race driver said, "Oh look, if you want, Instagram just put this thing in where we can go live. I can join you, and you can share the feed, and we can talk and chat
Nice.
and draw." I was like, "Cool, let's do that."
Cool.
And then so by doing that, it shared the feed. Then more people got to see what was going on, and then I had more race drivers go, "Oh, am I next?" And I went, "There isn't a list, but we can make a list." Fine. And I just went through my black book of people who I thought would be interested to chat to, who were available, people in the industry, and that just became the next part of the chapter of those drawings. Is that they became live feeds with people that people knew, who I just met at events and was like, "Do you want to chat?" And like, a few people said no. That's fine.
Yeah,
I'm like, "Cool, that's fine. No problems." I'm not.
But the ones that do, you say you've made these connections, utilize them, and
it was just So that's the drawings just escalated from there, and that's where so they're all numbered. They all have a they're all in a series of continuous car. And I converted the studio car. So basically a track day company said, she was like, "I've seen your drawings. We'd like it as a thing at a track day." As a bit of entertainment in the pits or paddock or whatever. So I had that Chevrolet Spark wasn't being used at all. That was just out. I think that was on my parents' drive. Wasn't being used, and I was like, "Okay, well, I'll make a project and just see if it." One of these things, like a bit like everything I do, is I'll see if it works. What's the work? What's literally? I wasn't using the car. It's not it wasn't an essential car. So if I do take out the back, smash out the speakers and take out the back seats. It's not going to lose any value. It's kind of the value of the car is nothing anyway.
We asked before about advice, sort of like you're saying, what advice would you give? And I think that probably sums it up, doesn't it? Give it a go, see where it leads.
Just like it's I think that's about what's the worst I can say is no. It's like I don't know. I've always had that kind of determination and drive to be like, right, can I do it better? What can, and I know it's an being from the fine art training that you had crits every week, and those crits were
criticisms.
Crits.
For people not in the fine art world.
Yeah, and it was like a group of people who would always like kind of, and sometimes they were brutal.
Like, a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure, but also if as long as you had the comeback to say, this is why I've done this. I've been influenced by this. This is why, I've looked at this.
The reasoning behind it.
The reason behind it. I think that's what I've always tried to do.
So for some people that would lead to fear, but for you it sounds like it's, well, I've faced that, and then let's just try. If I can survive that, then what else can I survive?
Yeah, it's and like I started. 2008 was a global financial crash. Survive that, survive the pandemic. Like it's got all these things that and that the drawing thing, the drawing technique, because it was during that time, it pivoted the business, it changed it, but it also meant that when I came out the other side and I could go back to paintings, I had two
diversity.
I could do the paintings and I could do drawings. Which makes me doubly as busy because I've got both things to do. But it's a bit like this year doing the London Marathon. It was like, well, it's a task, and I'm like, right, let's do it. It's not a business thing. It was more of it was for the first time ever, really, in a long time. It was a personal achievement thing rather than going, right, this is for Pop Band Colour and advancing the brand. But I could lean into the contacts I'd built through that to go, because the London Marathon is a bit like a British Grand Prix. Everybody knows what the British Grand Prix is because it's
a brand.
It's a thing.
So many people are involved.
It happened, and the same with marathon. Everybody knows what the marathon is. So, and that's what was really cool this year about bringing that in was to get that bit of gold. To get that bit of that.
Fantastic achievement.
But it was just great that the companies did get involved, who I'd worked with, but also the group that I run with, the ex-military. I've worked with Mission Motorsport, who are ex-military. So for from my understanding of how they worked, I was like, I can refer it back to people I've worked with previously.
Yeah, and it all brings back a nice little.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always just been, somebody who's determined to work out what the solution is and just problem solve the solution, and generally it works. Generally.
Ian, thanks very much. That's been great.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Neil. I'm the host of Another Bright Spark podcast. It's a podcast hosted by Ignis. Who are Ignis, you're probably asking? Well, Ignis are an ethical engineering company. We're based here in Nottingham. We have a bunch of really talented hardware engineers and a equally talented bunch of software engineers. We work in the electronic space, and throughout that space we meet lots of interesting people. So we thought it would be a great opportunity to get these people, sit down and chat to them and have a podcast.
The fact that we want that physical object, and we still go through the process of putting it in, needle on the thing and scratchy sound, but we still get to enjoy that. There is something fundamentally tactile.
I'll read one comment, or one will just come up on the app, and it'll just sort of sticky, because it's real criticism. That's it. And as a content creator, or YouTuber, it can't be anything but personal.
But giving people the freedom to be able to post content and actively encouraging them to get involved in it has a lot more success.
We used to say it would be 3 to 4% of a graduating class at university might think about doing entrepreneurship, and only half of them, if that, would try. Now you've got 25-30% of a class thinking about it.
And what you end up is a battle of the bots. You've got them using AI to try to do something, and me saying to my AI, so suddenly we've now got bot wars. AI bot wars.
Hosted by Craig Charles.
Exactly.
We have some great guests with some amazing stories coming up. You don't want to miss out. If you've got an idea of a guest for us, let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, make sure you're subscribed. You really don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching.